Hello and welcome back, everybody. We're about to kick somebody out here at Legend Series. Of course, it's Windigo versus Kinguin for this losers match. Have we got any predictions?
It's fairly tough to say coming into this game from what we saw from both teams. I think, considering what we saw, even though Kinguin struggled in that game, as long as they go away from Nuke, which I'm hoping we won't see again, they should be in a fairly good shape. We, of course, can look at the Kinguin side of things, not necessarily having the best performance earlier on, but still, you look at the roster and you think to yourselves, they should still be favored coming into this.
It was a really upsetting performance, of course, Nuke being a really weak map from them and for them. Of course, Squared got off to a great start and were able to just romp it home, causing maybe the biggest upset we've seen this tournament so far. And of course, Squared up into that winners match. We'll see them in about an hour's time. But of course, Kinguin versus their opponents being shown on the screen now. Windigo, they've just played a match Counter-Strike, are a bit underwhelming. They're on Mirage. I feel like they lost the game as of the pick ban, pretty much.
Yeah, it felt like Mirage wasn't necessarily the best option for them there. Maybe it's just them playing more towards their own strengths and not looking to their opponents, because if they did do some research, they should have been aware that Pride really like to play Mirage, but at the same time, if they themselves are feeling confident, sometimes you want to see if you can beat the best on your own map, and they wanted to try and see if they could. Didn't quite work out this time, but I can understand you want to play to your own strengths. You've put in a lot of time, and you don't want to be shying away from a map maybe you've put a lot of practice into.
Yeah, it was just underwhelming overall. It didn't seem like they had all too much to talk of. The CT side had sparks of brilliance, finding a couple of those pretty much better plays with the AWPs. I must say, Nizazorp was actually pretty good over towards CT spawn. He was finding shots left, right, and center, especially over the smokes. Able to eliminate the guy planting the bomb a lot of in many of those opportunities. But here, I don't think we'll probably be seeing a Mirage here today unless Windigo want to go for it again. I can't see them being exceptionally confident on it. Maybe a middle of the map pool, an Inferno, perhaps.
Yeah, I think Mirage could still come out, but Windigo with that recent loss, maybe they won't want to go for it. Maybe it's in their heads a little bit. We did kind of see there, it's always worth talking about Victor whenever you're looking at Windigo. He started to have a couple of rounds where he was making a big difference, but that just didn't come through often enough, and there wasn't really too many massive impact plays from anyone else on the team. It was really only him, it seemed like, making plays to really win rounds.
So it seems we're going to Cobblestone. Kinguin, firm favourites here, looking fairly confident. Well, the ArcaneBet betters at least certainly think so. And coming into this knife round, it isn't one that is all too crucial. Of course, Cobblestone, a bit of play on either side.
Yes, certainly should be the case. We'll get to see if Windigo are still warm after that last game, or even though they took the loss. They did look okay against Pride, I think. Getting 11 rounds isn't necessarily terrible. Okay, nice from Victor. Left-clicking the first, right-clicking the second. Getting the knife round for Windigo. Cobblestone is sometimes a map where you start on the T side, but not going to be seeing that come through today. Windigo sticking true with the tried and tested CT side of things, and they have got themselves a kit alongside a couple of flashes. In the meantime, still waiting on the Kinguin buys. And heading into this pistol round, will be interesting to see. A lot of times you will see the Glock train maybe try and push the B site quickly. That can sometimes overwhelm the opponents, but I would expect Kinguin to take a bit of a slower approach to start things off.
Yeah, of course, a quick pause before we get into proceedings. Kinguin starting on that terrorist side, able to be a bit faster. I'd say that the T side's probably their stronger half on Cobblestone, if I dare say so. Windigo showing us a bit of, like, quite a couple of flaws in the CT side on Mirage at least. But getting into this game, Kinguin will be going for the 4 sets of Kevlar. Sparrow picking up the majority of the equipment. A P250 as well, so slightly longer range potential. And on Cobblestone, you kind of want that.
Certainly giving himself the chance for some quick headshots. But the rest of the team with the Glocks will just try to stick together. You can see a fair few of them positioned towards a long. Bubble is the man who would be holding a long, but he is very, very far back. So shouldn't see too much action to start things off. And as I was expecting, a slow start for Kinguin, not just trying to go for the all-out aggression. And especially with Spiro still having the smoke and the flash, if those are well placed, it could be fairly easy to take the A site with the CTs holding fairly passively. Victor is, however, pushed up in towards mid, so that's something that can be fairly difficult to clear if there's only the players pushing out through A long. But that is yet to be seen, because the two players from Kinguin over towards drop, they could rotate back around, or they could try and push drop, get into connector, and split the A site. Still very, very open for Kinguin.
I like that Punisher's got this kit, and he's throwing it towards connector as well, able to rotate to either site as the bomb goes down, and put that defuse kit on either site to be able to go for that retake fairly quickly. Looks like it is going to be this A split with minimal noise made. The nades rain over, and Rallen does find the opener. On towards the A site. Victor going for this flank, not spotting anybody just yet. It's Bubble instead to find a bunch of frags. Finds that one and looks for the second player.
Ooh, push comes in, but Mal shuts it out. And elsewhere, Spiro gets a kill with a P250. Gonna hold off, and he just taps the head. Spellan, the one man left, not quite going to get tapped away as Spellan eventually gets that kill. So Spiro will only be limited to 2 frags in the round, but the damage is already done as Kappa closes out the pistol. A quick 1-0 lead for Kinguin, and despite taking it slowly, Windigo couldn't really get enough information to know for sure it was going to be A. They didn't want to rotate too hard, and that meant that Kinguin could make their way forwards.
And of course, AK-47s all round. Apart from the one, it's a UMP for Maus. They're throwing them towards the B site. Going for a pretty split approach with Mihu here, holding down the long distance engagement. Maus throwing the UMP short range here to counter Spellan, who's been going for these flanks pretty consistently. And I think he'll probably throw the same strat in once again.
Just trying to play up close with the pistols. Certainly understandable, but you would expect Kinguin to maybe, if they were going to push out through plat, just try and deploy a smoke, make sure that is less of a possibility. In the meantime, Spellan also holding up close, but Kinguin, yet again, wanting to make sure they are methodical with their play, not making any errors. They are using a fair amount of utility early on here. You can see the nades a little bit lacking on the Kinguin side, and the Polish team are slowly but surely grouping up around this B site, so this could still be dangerous for Kinguin.
Ships hidden behind this smoke, crosshair level, looking for the heads. As the smoke dissipates, it's going to be Kinguin to charge the way onto the B site. Got so much information over here and a full stack as Windigo replace that smoke. Kinguin likely going to have to push through this one if they want any look into the B site. Of course, throwing through the loop. They're going to rotate 2 men over towards A, but they've not got a lot of time to play with. Straight into drop here. They've got to make a move right now. Victor finds one, traded straight out. Spellan falls back, and Kinguin need to speed this up. The bomb down. Rallen needs to get it out of there. 2 kills for him already, and he needs to make this re-rotation out. Punisher, so much damage from the door, but pistol through. Can't find the frags. Sparrow instead to find one. What a mess. It's me here with 2. Ships.
There's no fun.
This is rotation, and Kinguin, yep, just too late. Time is up. It's Windigo. Oh, after time as well. Perfect from Ships.
Wow.
What a mess.
Yeah, just such a frantic round. Going all over the place. Kinguin trying to take things slowly, but just those 2 smokes very well placed out towards plat. Maybe a little bit lucky to deploy them in the perfect position, but it still did work out very, very well to be able to slow down that push. And you saw Kinguin, last second they tried to make a call to split A. It was looking fairly good for them. It was just the time that really went against them. And so now into this round, Rallen has a lot to do with that AK if they want to get the win here. He is going to be out towards plat, but the deep smoke will force him out. And Rallen will not be able to do anything with the smoke being deployed. So it seems as though Kinguin are not going to go for too much fast aggression again, but there is currently only Spellan towards the A site. That could be a little bit dicey for Windigo if the push were to continue towards A.
A couple of the blunders that Kinguin have been making pretty consistently have just been due to playing a little too slow, not being as coordinated as ordinarily they should. And this hit and miss style of Polish Counter-Strike coming to fruition once again. You can see Windigo, they've got the ball in their court, the rifles in hand, and they're about to face down Mihu and Rallen. Shadow spotted out first, and Spellan is going to take first. Holds down the spray for 2. Mihu finally able to trade it out, but it's Windigo winning all these duels. Only one kill for Kinguin.
And that is a big boy reset. Kinguin not going to have the cash. They fully invested into the previous one, of course, with the saved AK, with the player dying after time. And Windigo get themselves back into a position where they can build up some money themselves. We are just going to see Kinguin with the 2P250, so shouldn't be too much of a chance here. And Windigo are this time going to have 2 players towards A, just to make sure there's no possible chance of the Pistols sneaking their way up to the site and maybe getting a fortunate bomb plant. It doesn't seem as though Kinguin, again, are going to go for too much aggression. It looks like so far they've been playing very, very slowly on their T side, setting the pace quite slow. Maybe if they do go for a faster play later on, Windigo wouldn't be prepared for it. That's maybe something to keep in mind. It seems like slowly but surely Kinguin filtering their way out towards A long.
Spellin here, just watching and waiting down the angle. Tap comes in, connects, bit of damage. As Windigo, they've got 2 players on this A site. They played this 2-1-2 setup, which is pretty unconventional for Cobblestone, normally electing to go for more of a stack on the B site. But so far, it's definitely worked out as Kinguin, despite knowing that there's probably extra members over here, extra reinforcements, still elected to go for it in multiple of these engagements. As they pour in, Spellin hears a thunder of footsteps onto the A site. He's able to deal with them all. It's Rallen last alive, just being tapped away. He's so low, only able to rattle off the single shot. There's a CZ here. He's been absolutely trounced. He's found by Victor.
Fairly standard round there. Windigo hold on for the 3-1 lead. Here come the AKs for Kinguin. Some nades to speak of, and on the Windigo side of things, they themselves will only stick with the 1 ump. The rest of the players, of course, getting the full utility. And Kinguin are going to spread out to start things off, so unlikely to see any fast aggression out in towards this round. Seems like Windigo are going to stick with 2 players towards A on this gun round to start us off. And oh, Punisher is down to just 13 HP. He was over towards the A side of the map. So I believe he was tagged through the door to start off the round. Not exactly a great way to start things through. So we are going to see Rallen now make his way forwards. Kinguin just probing around, seeing if they can get any information. But oh, Ships gets a kill with a Molotov there over towards B plat to start things off for the CT side.
And Kinguin need to find a peak. They need to actually make some pick happen. And Spellin playing this angle that we watched Jax so successful in yesterday, but gets sidelined and puts a lot of pressure on Punisher to twist around and find a shot quick. As Kinguin pour into the A site, they've got AKs all over, all around as Punisher just here, looking to be that hidden potential. Looks for a bit of a spray down. There's the dunk, does damage. Both down to 70. Ships can rotate in as well, gets absolutely domed and dinked as these last 2 CTs want to pour in, but held out by Kinguin, who once again, 25 seconds on the board. Bubble able to find an aggressive Mihu. Don't know why he was going for that aggressive engagement. Instead, this bomb going down, a little bit of cash in the James Banks, but Mao's still on this site. Looking for these picks. They're both low. One, oh, moves around and doesn't find the correct angle. Bubble instead able to trade it through. 4-1.
You'd have thought that maybe he could have been able to expect that both of the CTs would want to stick together in that position, but it's always going to be tough to know exactly where you are going to be forced to take the fight from. And so it will be Windigo going for the rifles again. And Kinguin can still afford the AKs, but look at their nades. They are going to have to rely on the AKs mostly to find the headshots. And actually, Kinguin are all grouped up to start this round. This is something we've not seen as of yet. All of them out towards B plat. Seems like we could be seeing the aggression come through with what little utility they have being thrown over, but Ships already shuts down the first player trying to push forwards, and you can see Kinguin second-guessing themselves. They don't want to go out towards plat with Ships having so much control. And the nades coming in from Windigo, very well placed, but as I say that, Mao's boosted up, gets himself a kill back. And Bubble might not want to stick around, goes for the spray. Not actually too much damage dealt there, and we are going to see Kinguin still just not commit to the push just yet. I thought they might try and go for a faster play, but that will not be the case to start the round.
All rifles on the board, no snipers for either team. As Victor aggressive does find that one, and they're going to back off with that. That's enough. The man advantage again salvaged. There's Rallen, this flank. We saw it on we saw it on Nuke, sorry, going straight into vents, making the picks yet again into drop zone. And Victor seems ready and waiting for this pick, but Rallen just hiding back, wanting to bait them in. As Kinguin rotate round to A, Rallen does find a kill, throwing a spammer in the works. Confusion in the ranks of Windigo. As you can see, Punisher, he could be the difference maker once again. He's hidden back, could stop this bomb from going down. Kappa has to plant in a different position. Back of the site, 60 HP, has his AK-47 left. Couldn't make it happen last time, can't make it happen this time. Oh Lord, Bubble spraying his dead body as well.
Yeah, Bubble on fire is not the man on fire. Instead, he is the one burning other people alive. Doing a good job there, finding the shots as well, of course. And Windigo coming up to an early lead here, 5-1 up now. And Kinguin, they keep getting these bomb plants. They keep getting just about enough money to go for the buy. So they will continue to follow through with the AKs. And you can also see Windigo, of course, have been having to take these rounds fairly close. So their economy certainly isn't built up just yet. And Kinguin, again, we're not going to see any fast play. I'm interested to see if we do see any fast pushes from Kinguin throughout the half, because it seems like so far they have been willing to just hold fairly safe, maybe pushing towards A-long this time, as we see Mihu going in first. Nade comes in, Mihu spots the man, and the spray is good, but does he expect the second player? Does, but doesn't get the kill. And now Punisher still trying to hold out in the open, and that allows Mouse a fairly easy trade. And finally, Kinguin getting something going for themselves, gain the man advantage early on.
First time in a while that they've actually been able to put this sort of damage on the board early in the round. With a minute left, they've got a lot of angles to play with. And once again, Windigo a bit light on the defense on the B site. It's been working out for them. Every time Kinguin have elected to go towards this side of things, they've been able to deal with it. But this time, it's the A site completely broken open. Bubble on fire needs to set this match alight right now with the A to prepare if he wants to make this 1-3-3 happen.
Doesn't look like he's too interested in going for it, but he's also not going to be saving the AWP. Spiro denies it and even steals away the AWP for himself. And as we were saying earlier, Windigo haven't really built up the cash that they would like. So even though they've got the buy together here, it's not going to be all that great for them, especially in terms of their utility. Not too many nades in their arsenal, just a fair few smokes and a couple of flashes to try and hold this off. And we have seen those incendiaries be used from Windigo to try and gain ground early on. The deep mollies allowing them to push. That might not be able to happen this time around. Instead, though, it's Bubble trying to just peek out with the AWP and seeing if he can hold this angle. Flash comes in for him to continue to hold. It seems like Kinguin not too interested in going over towards B plat. Now they know the AWP is there. They're just going to reposition back towards A.
And you can see Windigo just receding back. They've got such a heavy A defense as well. I think Windigo, one of their best maps is definitely Cobblestone. Imperial, they liked it. Outlaws, it was by far and away their best map, even without Cirque. They loved it. They had such a solid setup towards the B site. They used to only play one player over towards A, so this time running a completely different setup, but they're actually not going for this pick. Ships only finds one, gets a dink on the second. Transferring the spray over to Sperr a little early, who finds two.
And again, it's Bubble having to save the AWP, not being able to do too much. I say having to save the AWP. Last round, he didn't save that AWP. He got hunted down, and that might continue. Rallen has pushed all the way through T-spawn, and Bubble is going to continue to make noise. Oh, no, he's a dead man. Oh, actually nearly gets his gun out in time, but eventually Rallen will finish him off. So Kinguin finally getting a couple of rounds together, but more importantly, this game was still sort of hotly contested in terms of the economy side of things, and that means that now Kinguin have finally put their foot down and forced Windigo back down to almost a full eco. Just one flashbang bought up.
And you see those odd shift as Windigo started picking up more rounds. I think it's probably going to shift back. Now Kinguin are back in the mix. Remember, the Polish side have been traveling all day to Warsaw, to the boot camp for the Polish Championships. They didn't seem to on point earlier, but Mihu certainly on point now, picking up multiple shots. Fast frags as Victor missing out on these kills. Sparrow to take him down as well, both with the pistol.
Yeah, and Windigo now will probably go for the buy. Indeed, they will commit. However, no AWP for Bubble, a couple of FAMASs in there. Again, the utility is actually okay, but it's at the cost of not having any defuse kits. So they will have to try and just hold down the sites initially, and Kinguin might go for some faster aggression here. They are grouping up. The smoke's going to go over. This is what I wanted to see. A quick push to the B site to show they are capable of this fast aggression. And already the push comes out. There is Kappa to get the first. The nade does land straight in his face, and Mihu, also low on health, will eventually be taken down by Bubble. And the rest of Kinguin don't really commit to the push themselves. They needed to push there. Now you can see they're just kind of stuck in no man's land. Spiro behind this box is by himself. He is in trouble, and he will get pushed by Bubble. So now Rallen, the only man left, will have nothing to do, and Kinguin just did not seem fully committed to that call to push B. Rallen does get one kill, but Victor should be in position to take him down. There's plenty of players on the other side. I don't see Rallen really finding too much. Does go for the flash over the top. Not really going to find too much with it. Victor's still holding. Rallen just trying to see if he can work a pick, see if he can spot a mistake, but won't be able to. And Kinguin will finally falter with that somewhat discoordinated B play.
Both teams whipping out the AWP for this 11th round, getting to the business end of this first half. Sparrow and Bubble, both been finding picks. Sparrow possibly more. Kinguin certainly need him firing on all cylinders, especially on Cobblestone, such an AWP-heavy map, where the sniper's so prevalent towards both sites, especially A. Over towards long, you want it flashed in, picking apart several angles. Instead, Windigo again playing this now 2-3 setup. It's actually that 2-1-2 setup that they showed us in the pistol, the initial buy round as well. An unconventional one at that. That's a funny smoke. I've never seen that before. It's actually to cut off Bubble with the AWP. They think that he might be looking, so they can go for the cross into main, so they can have visual onto ramp. That flash is horrible. Rallen completely evades it. This Punisher needs to hit this spray, does get the transfer on. Spellin as well. Victor, everybody trading in with frags. Another for Victor. Is Kappa last player.
And Kinguin again falling apart. Just Kappa, as you were saying. Looking fairly quick with his aim, but that will not matter because Punisher will completely catch him off guard. And Windigo themselves winning a couple of rounds, however, still Kinguin with plenty of cash. Spiro's going to get that AWP alongside the AK. Still AWPs for both sides. And just looking at the frag distribution, it's fairly even across both teams. The only player, I guess, not quite on that sort of 8 kills mark is Kappa down there at 3, but that's not too far behind the rest of his team. And Kinguin, again, going out towards B plat. This seems like it's been a point of contention for both teams early on. We have seen Windigo go for aggression themselves, but Kinguin have not wanted to give this one up. And that's why we are seeing them commit so heavily. But you can see still Windigo trying to force them back. But Spiro will put his foot down and force them to not go for too much aggression. Just as I say that, though, Bubble will go for a peek himself. Oh, Spiro wins the fight of the AWPs there. Bubble had himself lined up for the shot, and yet still could not connect. And so now Kinguin have the man advantage. But just as I say that, Victor himself brings it back to a 3-on-3.
Playing up close and personal, Punisher with this AWP, finds both of them, lines them up as well. Sparrow and Mouse gone. It's only Mihu left, and he's caught completely out of the action. He hasn't found a single frag. Sparrow showing up huge in this round, but Mihu's still got it to do. A 1v2 back onto the B site with plenty of time. Needs to eliminate Punisher first, but instead it's going to turn his back. And Windigo looking to punish the Poles.
And Kinguin here, remember, this is the loser's match. We, coming into the day, thought they might have a chance at taking it all, taking that first spot. They are certainly running the risk of falling a bit too far behind here. Pistols in their hands. They were certainly favorites coming into this matchup in particular, but same can be said about them against Squared, and that did not come through for them. CZs do overwhelm Victor. He's only good for the one frag, and Bubble, forced to go with the 5-7, ends up going down, but ARP is gifted into the open arms of Mihu. Spellan now has to hold off multiple angles, and Rallen, the CZ, still successful at long range. And that means that now Punisher and Ships have to make their way back, but Punisher is caught. And Ships is trying to go for the big flank, but a 1-on-3 is still going to be difficult to pull off. Made a bit easier with that one kill, however, still 2 to find.
They wanted to prioritize Rallen in that situation. He diverted the attention away from Connector and even found the kill, long range CZ in hand. Ships changing up his angle of approach. Nobody's going to be watching for him, but he's been missing out of action for quite a while now, and you can see Mihu's already starting to get suspicious. Watching up for this angle, and Ships, I feel like he's going to be caught off guard, and he is. Mihu absolutely blasts him. An ass blasting.
Could say that. Ooh, MP7 brought up for Victor, alongside 2 AWPs for the Windigo side of things. So again, seems like Windigo's economy has actually not been that well built up throughout this half, but they've still been able to just make sure they continually win rounds. So now we'll get to see how these double AWPs can perform, if they can carry the team through the rounds. Mihu's going to be up towards A long. He's a little bit by himself, but he's still going to see if he can work his magic. And he does get the first and the second kill. Mihu showing up for Kinguin. And you can see Windigo going to have to rotate over. It's Victor, though, with just an MP7 to come towards A. Either way, the damage is done already. 2 kills to open up. And Kinguin in a very good position now, you would think, to close this round.
He's played that angle 1,000 times, entering towards long. Knows the angle perfectly. The repeat not coming in, and he's looking for this third as well. Victor gifts it away. Another triple for Mihu. He's been an absolute stunning star this half, and he is making noise on the backtrack over towards B, and Ships is going to chase him down and trail, but Mihu instead turns around, shoulders him. Just Bubble left, and there's nothing he can do. B site AWP up close, but he's going to have to wield it like a shotgun if he wants to eliminate anybody in this position. Can hear people wrapping round, but it's all a ruse. Bomb planted towards A, and Bubble caught all out of the action. This AWP, almost at commission. Mao's going to have to finish him off, and he does. This scoreline tightens as Kinguin take their 6th.
Last round of the half, and Windigo don't have too much money to show for it. They're just going to have to go for the pistols. CZs for the most part, with Bubble sticking with the 5-7. And on the Kinguin side of things, I mean, we did see there Mihu, 4 kills in the round. Not quite the ace, but certainly won the round all by himself. And Windigo this time are going to stick 4 players over towards the B side of the map. Kappa did spot out the first opponent. Nade and Molly comes in. Ships doesn't really take too much damage there. He just about managed to slither his way out of that position. However, you can already see Kinguin just making sure they stay far back, not committing to any fast plays. We've very rarely seen Kinguin try and go for the quick pushes. And the one time we did see them try and rush B, didn't particularly work for them, even with the nades over the top. So understandably so, Kinguin will keep their slow setup working, because that's how they have won their rounds.
It's going to be difficult for Windigo to make this 9, but nevertheless a good CT half. They've got the 4-man stack on the B site, something that they haven't put into action all too many times. Spellan over here towards A, looking to get feisty and aggressive. Of course, the bomb. That's C4 over towards the curly letter. And it's Spellan here behind this smoke, wanting to counter the AWP at close range. Sparrow has absolutely no coverage at all. No rifles to help him. And Spellan's able to absolutely funnel him in.
Couple of kills here for the pistols. And Kappa is still playing a close range position. 25 seconds, actually. So the bomb is going to have to be recovered. And Kappa is going to have to get his running shoes on. Actually leaves the bomb behind. Kappa now is going to have to force this opening kill. 15 seconds, Kinguin. You have to go now. And they run through the smoke. Ships gets the opening as expected. And Mao's stuck in the open. There's just no time left. And Mihu will not be able to do anything. That is the half going the way of Kinguin, or sorry, going the way of Windigo to close the half, 9-6. And Kinguin there, again, a couple of rounds, they did look a little bit sort of like they didn't have an overall game plan. Specifically there, it looked like they didn't exactly know what they wanted to do and maybe made the call a bit too late.
And now Kinguin go to the weaker CT side. I've watched them play this map CT-sided many times, and they're exceptionally weak here when it gets to this defensive half. They just don't seem to have that team coordination on Cobblestone. I'd like to see them take double digits on their T side if they're going to have any chance into this one, but it didn't happen. Windigo instead 9-6 up in this pistol round. Pause coming through. Nobody buying up just yet on that T side. Ship's finally getting out the Kevlar. Maybe got to wait a couple of moments before we watch what this pistol round buy is going to amount up to.
I mean, coming into today, I'm somewhat worried for Kinguin now, because coming into today, I was expecting at least Mirage and Cobble to be their two really strong maps. I wasn't expecting to see them on these maps, to be honest, because they generally do like to play these. I'd say they feel very comfortable on a map like Cobblestone, but still not particularly working out for them in the first half, and we'll have to see if the CT pistol goes their way. Looks like it's a technical issue for Kinguin that we will look to fix as soon as possible, because we want to get straight back into this and see how Windigo can perform. Again, we saw them against Pride. They looked okay, not particularly impressive, but they currently have the lead against Kinguin, and that might be something to work with.
There's certainly been a lot of back and forth action, especially in that first half, well, all day, but especially in that first half there. Looked like Kinguin could close it up to the tightest possible score line before Windigo. They barely had any economy at all to be able to buy into that 15th and final round of their CT side and able to put 9 rounds on the board. Non-Cobblestone, that is a stretch too far. I'd say an even score line for this matchup would probably be 9-6 the other way. I feel like Windigo are probably going to have a much easier time now it comes to the T side. Don't want to be made to eat my words, of course, but this technical pause should be coming to an end very shortly.
Yeah, and it does sometimes depend on the individual matchups as to whether or not the teams do have the success on the T side. It's not necessarily as easy as saying, hey, this map is very CT-sided. It can be that some teams just kind of break the norm in terms of that, but I don't think either of these sides are particularly going to do that. So, yeah, Windigo looking in good shape so far, getting themselves the lead. They never really built up too much money, but they just did continue to sort of force out those rounds, even grinding out those rounds, it felt like, and getting themselves into a fairly good position for the second half. It
felt like the grind from Kinguin was pretty strong.
Yeah.
I do agree on that score. It felt like that half could have been a lot tighter than it inevitably was, with Kinguin, especially in that center part of the half, really able to figure out the defense. Remember, Windigo were using a very unconventional setup there. I know it's working today, but I feel like if teams did a bit of research, obviously a new lineup, so you haven't got much information on them, can be abused with B rushes. Let's say that Kinguin went through a B rush for that opening gun round, it would have been a win. They only had 2 players over towards that side of things. Kinguin seemed a bit lackluster in the reading department. They didn't really have that sort of insight knowledge into what the defense really looked like. And Windigo were putting that 2-1-2 setup into commission, which is something that we don't often see. In the pistol round, it's fine because you want to cut off connector pushes, but in the gun rounds, you kind of want more players over towards the B site. Kinguin figured it out once or twice, but going towards A the majority of the time. And of course, Windigo, they don't have Cirque to be using in that position like Outlaws would have had on Cobblestone. Remember, Cobblestone, one of their best maps.
Yeah, and coming into this, it does kind of feel like Kinguin, they maybe didn't have the depth to their strategies. I would have very much liked to see some fast B plays. They did try it the one time, really didn't work for them. We saw the 2 players push out and then no one really committing to the call. It seemed like that was for that quick B push. And it's just something that you do kind of need to have as an option. If you want to go for any sort of fast play, you need to be able to do it towards the B bomb site. And they didn't really set up the smokes well enough to allow that to be successful. And as soon as that one round failed, it seemed like they were never really wanting to go back to it. They didn't really trust that they could go for that fast play well enough. They didn't really know that they had it successful for themselves. And that is something that all of a sudden, if you're only going for slow plays, you become very, very predictable.
Yeah, I'd like to see Windigo really change it up a lot more on their T side. Of course, I think they're probably still the underdogs in this one just because of that star potential on the Kinguin side. I know our Arcane odds have been saying that Kinguin have been ahead for the majority of this game. I think maybe if I was a betting man, I'd be putting a bit of money on Windigo right now. I feel like they definitely have a bit of a chance to take this. Just from what we've seen in this game, it feels like every time Kinguin start to step up, you do get scared for this Windigo side, but this seems to be nuke all over again. That first match that we saw a couple of hours ago against Squared of all people, Kinguin just haven't been too strong today.
Yeah, they really haven't looked particularly on point, but we'll have to see if that will change for the pistol. We are going to have, okay, Mouse doesn't buy anything. Interesting, but we will head underway into the second half pistol. Going to be Kevlar across the board for Kinguin. No defuse kit, which is a little bit unfortunate, but on the Windigo side of things, they are going to have the one P250, fairly standard buy. And Kinguin, as you were kind of saying, they have got a bit more of a stack towards the B site to start things off. Windigo on their side, though, are currently leaning towards A. Those Glocks could struggle to take those long-range fights, so it might be onto the P250 if they are forced to go for some long-range engagements as they make their way now out towards A-Long to try and get closer towards the site to allow the Glock train to work better.
Not a massive fan of the zero investment on Mouse.
Yeah.
Not a fan as we approach the minute mark. Windigo, maybe he's a slight weak point. Fortunately, they're going towards this A site where Sparrow and me, who are both here, both Kevlar'd up. Mouse perhaps thought he's got the kit, perhaps. I'm not sure, or maybe he even has, and it's just a glitch on the HUD. Because, but I find that very unlikely. I feel like Mouse has probably just made a blunder in the purchase department. I would never have that problem. I'm brilliant at spending money. I'm fantastic at shopping. It's on my CV, one of my hobbies, shopping. Speller, gonna hit that first shot.
Oh, he gets a second kill in towards Connector. Now the push does come out through A-Long so quick as Ships gets his way up to the site. And Mao's the one man left without any investment. Will have to get headshot after headshot to win this one. And with Windigo playing so safe, that is not going to be a possibility. You can see now he definitely doesn't have the Kevlar as he makes his way forwards. Don't really think he's going to be finding anything here. Of course, no point in saving because he has nothing, not even the Kevlar, but he hasn't even made his way forwards. This round is pretty much donezo.
Yeah, a pretty underwhelming pistol round, all things considered, for Kinguin. Seemed to be no retort as of those opening few kills come through. Windigo seemed to be superior with the pistols, hitting headshot after headshot, and you can just see the scoreboard. Everybody very closed up. 9 frags on Bubble being the player trailing behind, and 13 on Spellin, who's leading the charge for this T side now. And when you've got a team that enclosed on the scoreboard, it means that 2 or 3 players all have to go to sleep at the same time. It's not about one player maybe cooling off. It'd be a whole team effort. Kinguin doing a bit of damage on the contrary. Mihu, Ralum both finding frags. CZ is doing a lot of damage as Ralum knife out, backs off. Sparrow actually goes for this backtrack, in with a flank, nobody's watching for it. They need to rotate in, but he only finds one, makes a herd of footsteps. And certainly does get heard out. As Windigo 2 versus 2, this has been incredibly messy.
Kinguin, though, themselves, wanting to get those guns upgraded. That means they're going to push in towards mid, and Windigo could sneak past them through A-Long. The timing is fairly important here to see how this one goes. Oh, they've pushed out through mid, but Kinguin, they're not going to expect the A-Long play to have already come through. Kinguin, they think they're being smart. They think they're getting the flank towards the B site, but in fact, they are the ones who have been bamboozled as Windigo sneak their way over towards A. It's just a matter of time before that bomb goes down. And with Kinguin being so far away from the action, without the kit, very, very tough to do anything from this point.
They can't really catch a break, can they? Right now, completely caught out the action. This bomb going to go down with only a few seconds to spare, but they're finally with a chance and with a shot spotted out, sidelined. How can it get any worse? Rallen with this MP7 of all weapons, a hideous gun to have in this situation. Does try and draw in a little closer. Could probably deal with Punisher, but at long range, Bubble's going to be an absolute menace with the AK-47 as Rallen tries to go for this enclosed push in. It's Bubble instead to go for a preliminary peek and find 11 rounds.
MAC-10's going to come out for the Windigo side. Very, very normal to see. It looks like Bubble just going to stick with a P250 to make sure he has the extra cash, potentially for an AWP into the first gun round. And on the Kinguin side of things, minimal investment, of course. So this should be a fairly standard round. Windigo, I've got a lot of players out towards B plat, and oh, 2 nades dunk onto the same position and get that opening kill. Rallen doesn't get a chance to see an enemy. Mouse nearly gets the chance for the second frag, but the MAC-10s are going to get the job done towards B. And as expected, Windigo going to take a fairly decent scoreline now, 12-6. Well, it's not confirmed just yet as Spiro gets the kill, but should certainly be 12-6. A 6-round buffer. Not bad, all things considered.
I hate to say it, but Kinguin haven't shown me anything to get excited about all day. Couple of individual plays stepping up, but it's been incredibly streaky, and overall they've kind of sucked as a team. Not having those the repeats, any coordination, nothing to speak of. No real great counter-strike. Mihu hitting shots, and they have been hitting shots. Every now and again, we do see a flare of brilliance. I've been saying it pretty much, I feel like a broken record, but unable to really close anything out. And they find themselves 12-6 down here on Cobblestone with the CT side that I dubbed as weak coming into this half.
Yeah, Mihu surviving on 1 HP, made sure he ran as far away as possible from the bomb to stay safe. But here we go, Kinguin really need to win this gun round now. Otherwise, I think they just get too far behind. They have got the AWP into the hands of Spiro. Smoke will go in towards drop early on. And Windigo themselves just going to be fairly spread across the map. Just tapping off through the smoke, but not going to see anything really come from the Kinguin side. It seems like Kinguin not wanting to make a mistake in such an important round. They're going to hold fairly far back. As the nades come in towards mid, oh, that flash did force Spiro to fall out. So you can see Miku himself is forced to play safe. And Mouse, oh sorry, Spiro with that AWP is going to play somewhat close. Could be a little bit dangerous, but Windigo not going to commit to the push yet.
Mihu's nade, almost perfect, caught on the steps, doesn't do much damage. AWP to support here for Spiro as that smoke posted, flames planted. With a minute left, Kinguin still have 3 players now onto this A site, and you can see on B, the rotate will be quick. They have put no reinforcement over towards the B side of things, as Rallen has to find a different angle and decided not to go through that smoke. Instead, Ship's going to open up. Bubble as well, both with the AWP, and Rallen does trade it back with 2. Bubble's got to go huge as Rallen peeks, gives him a chance, but he can't capitalize. Bubble trying to wrap in, and he does find a shoulder. These smokes planted, but Mouse doesn't care, finds a shot straight through. And these flames finally trying to stretch out and eliminate Kinguin, but they can play this buddy system. In with a chance of making this retake happen is Bubble on this site. Needs to be an absolute turret and find both headshots. They're rotating in and he spots out one. Nice dunk on. Half health gone. And there's the first headshot for Bubble. Could actually do this. The flick just misses. Kappa's able to get the defuse in a 7th round. Kinguin clinging on.
Only going to be the one AK saved for Kinguin by the looks. There should be an AWP somewhere. Let's see if Kappa gets to save that. Going to make his way towards A-Long. There it is. Oh, there we go. Eventually gets the AWP into his hands, so that will be saved. But look at the Kinguin money. Not exactly great. Kappa, of course, will get a nice buy. And Spiro will also, with the AWP dropped over towards him. But he actually decided to drop a rifle for a teammate because he wants to make sure they all have guns and he can just play without the Kevlar. Still going to be full weaponry on the Kinguin side of things, but the nades are certainly somewhat missing. And Windigo are all going to group up to start things off. After these flames fade away, it seems like they are ready to go for such aggression. The MP7 going in first. Victor seeing if he can get the frag, but instead it ships to steal 2 away. The B side looking open. Even though Mihu gets 2 kills, it's just not enough. But there's still a player here. Rallen out towards this position. They don't expect him. He gets the 1 kill. Spray in, does get the trade. And Spiro with the AWP has to rotate over, has to try and find an opening in the 1-on-2, and the bomb isn't quite on the site yet, so maybe Spiro has a chance to hold this one off.
And he's scoped in, ready for the shot. Great wallbang. 1 versus 1 as Spellon falls back. Has to go for a dangerous cross, but Spiro's not watching for it. Dragon Lore in hand. It's pretty, but he hasn't found this final frag just yet. Spots out. Hasn't got the bomb, goes for this spray on through. Oh, misses the shot, Spero. Big whiff from him as the pressure might finally be mounting for the Polish AWPer. A bit of a tap as the bomb gets faked down. Spellon goes for the peek, but he hits the shot. Spots out a couple of pixels, but Spero's just too quick and too accurate.
Just about again, Kinguin having to clutch, having to rely with only 1 player left to pull things through for them. But it seems as though they have finally broken the Windigo money. Even though Kinguin themselves aren't exactly looking too convincing with this buy, Windigo decide it's just not worth going for the investment here. Mihu out towards A long, went for the peek there, decides against it. Spiro is holding in towards mid. Nade does some damage out towards Plat, but it seems like Windigo, with 4 players grouped towards A long, will likely look to overwhelm that side of the map. And Spiro is towards A with the AWP. And even with the smokes, it's going to be difficult to counter that, especially with Mihu also holding, but he's not going to be holding anymore. Victor rips his head off, and now Spiro has to lock down this A site.
And their economy is nothing to write home about. They probably couldn't even afford a postcard. It's Spiro, back of A site, again, Dragon Lore in hand, looking for this opening closeout as Windigo taking it slower. They seem very timid to go for any pushes whatsoever, even with the pistols. Maus, he's up close, and I hope they check, and they do! Victor! What was that? What a beautiful headshot! Finishes him off, and Spero is about to be challenged. Only finds 1, his ships eliminates him. And Kinguin, 2 versus 4, no way back into the bomb site.
1 kill is just not enough from Spiro when his teammates go down like that, especially when Rallen and Kappa both only have SMGs for the rotate over. And they won't have SMGs for much longer because Punisher gets himself a kill back with the AWP. And Rallen has nothing to do in this position. And remember, we were saying Kinguin's money was not looking good. If they lose this round, they could be down and out. Rallen does get the 1 and the 2nd kill on just 1 HP. He finds that 2nd frag. Only picking up the ump there. There should have been an AK, I believe, but doesn't seem as though he's going to get it. Now here's the step. Spellon trying to hunt him down, and nothing will be saved. And let's look at what the Kinguin money is like now, because yes, indeed, it is not looking good. Mihu is going to have to bail them out with the M4.
Buys up straight away as well, no question. They all know that the job has to be done right here, right now, or they're going home. Remember, this is a loser's match. Some could have mistaken this for the winner's match, perhaps. That's coming next. It's Squared versus Pride. So possibly a more one-sided match. Something more one-sided than this, perhaps. Squared don't show up again, but Kinguin have to rely on this this M4 here, I beg your pardon. Mihu, he's playing it over towards long. They're going to circumnavigate him though, or walking straight past. He's going to find himself in the back line as this push comes in, but there's the head. A lone stray bullet with a CZ doesn't connect. We're about to wrap around, find Spero.
Let's see if Mihu can get something done from A long. He does get 1 kill, makes it a 2nd. All of a sudden, Kinguin do still have a shot at the round, especially with the bomb still not being planted. And you can see the player on the site is scared that Mihu could stop the bomb plant any second. Punisher finally gets the bomb down, and the rest of Kinguin rotating out in towards Connector, in towards Vent Room now are going to make their way forwards. Windigo are holding from very, very safe positions, but Spellan finds Mihu in the back, and Punisher himself finds a frag just to make sure that Kinguin are in an incredibly tough spot. That kill on towards Mihu was so important because now both Kinguin players retaking from the same position cannot do anything. And so it looked like Kinguin might have been able to get a lease of life, but that will not come through. Windigo keep the pressure up, 14-8 leads. And at this point, Kinguin might just be down and out of the entire tournament.
It's looking like a long stretch back. Very similar to what we saw earlier against Squared. That was a 14-8 scoreline as well. They were able to take that to overtime, but now that's looking far less likely. Kinguin with no money whatsoever, and they're going for a follow-up buy. Look at this. My mistake. They're not, but you could take over and cast a Counter-Strike if you want.
There's not much Counter-Strike happening at the start here. Just look, Spiro's looking at a wall, trying to hold up close, see if he can find something. We've seen Windigo, for the most part, be fairly slow. And you can see the odds updating slowly but surely. Kinguin's chances dwindling, especially with a buyer like this. That is certainly understandable. Punisher gets the first damage of the round. Mihu decides he doesn't want any of that action after spotting out so many AKs on the other side. There are 4 players stacked towards B, and Windigo seem to be congregating towards this B bomb site. But you can see the bomb is still certainly not committed either way. So if they do spot out that it's a stack here, they could try and fall back, but now they are all grouping up. So maybe some chance for Kinguin, but they need to find some kills up close.
Non-committal from Kinguin, but it's Windigo right outside this B site. The AK is looking to pry it open like a tin can, ships both frags. Kappa all out of ammo. He's going to be the next in line, the next to fall, and Rallen all alone, so lonely with this Mag 7. Going to be funneled out, and even caught by the flames. Match point by Windigo.
Well, Kinguin will get rifles back into their hands, but it might just be too little too late at this point. On the Windigo side of things, of course, plenty of money built up. Full buy into the round. And they've just been looking too hot to handle for Kinguin so far. As soon as that second half pistol went against them, seems like Kinguin have not really been able to get anything going on their CT side. We are going to see Mouse try and make a play here. This aggression we haven't seen too often. And there we go. Mouse does open up and will be able to fall back thanks to the smoke. Although he won't be able to fall back cleanly as he only survives on 20 HP. Ooh, nice nade. Lands at the feet of Ships to take him down to half HP. So a good start into this round for Kinguin.
Ships, obviously, as he said, half HP. It's Windigo, Orp, 3 AK-47s to go for this final approach onto the B site, where Kinguin have a pretty decent stack. 5 rifles for them and a couple of nades. It's running low in the utility department and also the health department as far as Rallen and Maz are concerned. As that smoke still placed, he goes for a mat spray through, but it's Victor instead to try and capitalize. Can't connect as Rallen forced to fall back. Kappa here on tree, hasn't been spotted out just yet, and as the re-smoke is planted, means that Rallen able to hit that shot. Maz as well. This game continues.
There we go. Mouse gets a triple kill. A little bit of confidence shown to go for that early push. And Kinguin, after they get the man advantage, do close out the round very, very easily. Still need 6 more rounds exactly like that if they want to even secure overtime. But Spiro will have the AWP, something that Windigo don't have on their side of things. But Windigo all sticking together. This might be the fast play. We didn't see this from Kinguin too often, but Windigo themselves might be ready to commit to a B push.
Looks like a fast sprawl out onto the B site. Maz looking to try and hold this one down. He's stuck on this B site, and that was decent information. Spotted the head of one. Oh, and he does take the tags. There's Spellon. Finds one before Ships goes down. Levels it back to a 4 versus 4, and Bubble as well. Leveling the playing field, and they have this A site. The rotate being cut off by Spellon as well. They've all got to fall back and go straight up ramp, but with this bomb planted, they can plant it anywhere. Open, closed, whatever the hell they want. Punisher gets it down early, taps those numbers in, and there's no saving for the Poles. They've got to make this one happen. A 3 versus 4 as they try and creep in. This one's going to be so damn difficult.
Victor holding off, does go down there. So Mihi with the quick kill, looking for a second, but Bubble in position. The Molotov even closes things out, and Windigo going to take the 16-9 win. That's Kinguin out. 2 losses, and they're done.
Kinguin out. Absolute upset, beaten by both Squared and Windigo, our first defeated team here in Group B. See us back here in a couple of minutes, or I'll be joining Nikita for a bit of bar chat.
Well, there we have it. Unfortunately, Kinguin is out of the tournament. An unexpected result, certainly. We thought they might even be the strongest team of this group, but they've actually turned out to be the weakest. What do you think? Why has it all gone wrong for them?
Well, it's a bit crazy, isn't it? It's put it all up in the air, and Polish Counter-Strike strikes again. It's kind of very Virtus Pro-esque for a team like Kinguin to be eliminated in such spectacular fashion against people who we've barely ever heard of, such as Squared, like who thought that they were going to do anything in this group. And then again here on Cobblestone against Windigo, who were a super unknown quantity. They don't even have the best player in Bulgaria on their side. Very disappointing results, extremely underwhelmed. I'm personally super disappointed at Kinguin's performance, mate.
Yeah, well, disappointing for Kinguin, but
yeah,
incredible for Squared and Windigo. I mean, this is a great opportunity that these sorts of events that we try to do and, you know, we put together.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing that the Path to Santa Ana represents. It's a chance for teams from regions, tier 2, tier 3 teams, for giving them a real shot at kind of some fame and fortune. Definitely. I mean, like, great performance coming out of Squared and Pro4 and Windigo. They seem to, I mean, they kind of took control of the match, and it was definitely the most decisive win we've seen so far today.
Yeah, just touching on that first point as well, I think that's one of the best things about Legends Series is it gives a path for amateurs and non-professionals who probably aren't on the 5-figure salaries to actually get the Counter-Strike in, get the practice in against some of the big dogs. And Squared really proving their worth today in our tournament. And it's extremely pleasing to see that even though there were a couple of caveats, it was on Nuke, it was an overtime victory, they did almost choke towards the end, but perhaps disappointing in a couple of fashion, they still pulled out the win. Hats off to them, and they're going to be playing the winners match next, of course.
Absolutely, and now obviously Pride is a clear favorite there. We expect them to win, but their win wasn't as dominating as we expected either, so there is a chance that Squared can win. What does Squared need to do to win?
It needs to be those stars showing up again. They need to just have everything going right for them. Remember on Nuke, they won pretty much every single clutch. They are going to need that Cinderella story miracle performance again if they are actually going to pull it out on whatever map it is. I feel like they need a bit of luck in the veto as well. They can't be letting it go to a Mirage. I feel like Nuke's an instant ban for the opposition side. I don't think Squared are going to get lucky in that respect. I think possibly they might be focusing on the middle of their map pool, and then it's all about whether they can shoot off and go mad again.
Well, that's always something that we talk about, and it is noted that it's always advantageous for the underdog to have a bit of chaos. So for them to go for nuke makes sense, because if the other team isn't as practiced, they can get lucky with Squared are good enough, and they just need that little bit more of an advantage, and then they can take the win. And putting the other team on an unfamiliar map or a map that isn't as practiced and they're not so experienced on really could give them that edge. So I would agree. I don't expect Nuke to be let through because we've seen what happened previously. So
not many teams are confident on Nuke.
No,
that's why we haven't really seen it as much.
I love the look of
I
the
love,
map. I love
it
watching
really
it. I love the look
it?
of it. I love the map itself. But we see it so rarely, and it's always a surprise whenever it comes about.
Yeah, this season has actually been cash probably on the underplayed map. I've been kind of surprised how much Nuke has been played. I think we've seen it 3 times in the last couple of days, just considering that it's a map that we never get to see.
Yeah. But we see it 3 times, and that's the weird thing about Nuke. No one expects to see it, but you see it more often than you see it.
Yeah.
But definitely, it's some great games. I mean, what a crazy 2 days so far, and hopefully it continues.
Yeah, and great point. We've got another bunch of amazing Counter-Strike to come. Obviously, this is where the business end of the day comes into fruition. Halfway there, and we've got 3 games of potentially brilliant Counter-Strike left.
And then whoever wins today, well, we had Ago yesterday, and whoever wins today will then face off next week in the final stage. And it will, those 4 teams, one of those teams will be going to America, to Santa Ana, to face off against 2 American teams and 1 Chinese team. So it's really all on the line. Thanks a lot. I'm going to leave it. We're going to hop to a small break, guys, and then we'll be back with Pride against Squared. Exciting match.
Sure thing.
Thanks a lot.